Okay, if I can have your attention for a minute. As y'all can tell, we've kind of been switched in here tonight. If you've already finished eating or if you're not going to eat, if you could, they're supposed to open up this door and let us fill the space at some point. It was supposed to be earlier. Anyway, we need to speak. They won't let us bring any more chairs in. But if we have people that want to eat, you might want to consider standing like I'm going to do for a while so that somebody else can eat. Otherwise, they're going to sit there and watch us eat. So if you would consider that, I've been told that originally it was supposed to open at 6 and then it was supposed to open at 6:30. It's 6:35. We're just winging it now. So, Jameson, would you come up and open us in prayer? Then we can go ahead and get started.
Heavenly Father, we just come before you with all humility. God, it's important that we come to you. Repent. But your word says that we can boldly come before the throne of grace as well. So God, we're boldly coming before you to plea for our nation. God, to intercede on behalf of a nation that has fallen so far from you. God, we have forgotten as a nation, our government has forgotten that there is a power greater than itself, and that is you. So God, as we gather here today, your word says that wherever two more are gathered in your name, that you're right there, right here in the midst. And God, your word says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom and there is liberty. So God, we thank you for freedom and liberty being present here this evening. God, we just ask that you would just come and invade this space with your presence. God, that we would have eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to understand. God, that no one would leave here tonight the same way that they walked in, but that we would be able to take the information, to be able to take what it is that we're learning this evening, and not just be hearers only, but God, to be doers. Revelation by itself doesn't change us. It's only the application of revelation that changes us. So God, we thank you for each and every person here going out and doing your word. So we just thank you, we praise you, we honor you. Thank you for Walter being able to be with us tonight. God, I ask that as he opens his mouth, that God, that you would speak through him and pierce the hearts of every single person here. That he would say something, or that you would say something through him that would shake us out of apathy. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jennifer. Mr. Begley, Bob, would you come lead us in the pledges? And then if you are a candidate, if you would line up over here, we'll let you have just like a minute or so to introduce yourself and say what you're running for.
That's me. Join me in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one
Thank you. Oh, it says Bob is here.
Bob Bagley, will be running, it's too early to announce because I haven't got my treasurer yet, but for Montgomery County Hospital District again. And I'll be running for precinct chair.
24. Okay, Shelley?
Hello, Montgomery County Tea Party. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Shelley Sekula Gibbs, and I'm running for my third term on the Woodlands Township Board. So all you Woodlanders, please vote for me. My priorities are like yours: God, family, country, community. My goal is to keep the Woodlands wonderful, make it even better for future generations. And what I have been able to do, which I know you would support, reduce taxes, fully fund the police, and protect the beauty of the Woodlands for visitors as well as for residents, but fundamentally it relies on public safety. So thank you all for your support.
Oh yeah, I'm one of the many that's run for precinct chair 76, Dennis Gibbs. My people are here, welcome.
Hello there, I'm Gwen Withrow, and I will be running in the March primary. I'll be the very last item on the ballot, so you have to go all the way through the ballot. I am running for the Montgomery County Republican Chairman. So I'm asking for your help because we need to get the party back together. We need to get the party working for what it needs to be doing. So I really appreciate it if you would support me and that we can get this done, get the party back together, working the way it should be.
Hi, my name is Robert Withrow. Yes, that is my lovely wife there. So please vote for her. I'm running for precinct 72 chairman to restore the rule of law to that particular office.
I'm gonna keep this brief because I can be a talker. Jameson Ellis, I'm actually running for Congress in Congressional District 2. I did run during the 2022 primaries. We only had about 3 months and only raised $45,000. I still took almost 20% of the primary votes away from Dan Crenshaw. So we are going to be doing that again in 2025.
Doesn't know that I actually have a hook at home. Let's wait to the end of it so that we all get all the officers. Are you running again? For precinct chair? Come on, let's get all the ones, the candidates that are running first.
Larry Rogers, precinct 75. This will be my 4th term as precinct chair. And we appreciate your vote. Larry A. Rogers, and it's on 242 and in that area. Is where my precinct is.
Any other precinct chairs?
John Words, precinct 69, East Alwood Bridge.
Thank you. Luis Pedraza, 110, precinct chair.
Hello, I'm Wendy Yaki. I am the president of the Montgomery County Freedom Caucus, and I am running for precinct 66.
My name is Stephanie Cox, and I'm running for precinct 98, which is East Wendell off of 242 near 1488.
Dale Fessenden, I'll be on, if I have a calendar, I'll be on the ballot running for precinct 17, cut and shoot.
Any other precinct chairs?
Rita Henry, precinct 108, that's Jacobs Reserve.
DJ, running for precinct chair 102, it's Watercress and down Longmire.
Is that all the precinct chairs? Okay, then we have a couple of quick announcements.
Thank you so much, Pat and Dennis and team, for all y'all do. we have our Texas Youth Summit coming up. If you are a full paying member of the Montgomery County Tea Party, we will comp your ticket for free if you want to participate in our Texas Youth Summit. We have Donald Trump Jr., Charlie Kirk, Congressman Wesley Hunt, Yimby Park, she's a defector from communist North Korea. We have Abby Johnson, a former Planned Parenthood director, pro-life activist. Riley Gaines, of course, lost to, quote, Leah Thomas. We have Chad Robichaux, we have Congressman Troy Nels, we have Myra Flores, who's running for Congress again in South Texas. Who am I missing? Congressman Corey Nels, he's the New America First Congressman from Florida. And we have Kimberly Goldfloss, and she's an advisor to President Trump, of course, and many more patriots that we're going to add in the next coming weeks for 25 days out. If you want to come, we will comp your ticket for free. I'll just send that promo code to Pat, and she can email blast that out, but it's RW Patriot if you want to do it now and get on your phones and go to texasyouthsummit.com/events. Now, if you want to support us, we have a VIP reception, and it's a way that you can make this event free to you. And so that VIP reception is Friday at 6 p.m. with Don Jr., Charlie Kirk, and Kimberly Goldfloss. And that will be a great event that you can help support what we're doing. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. God bless you.
Is anyone in here heard Donald Trump Jr. speak?
What's the date of the event?
He's an awesome speaker. Surprised the heck out of me. Usually it's father's son, hard to say.
Now, what's the date and location?
You want to come make your announcement real quick?
After the meeting, I'm going to give you all a chance to promise to do what I've done for the last 50 years, and that is promise to vote for, in November of next year, anyone who was chosen by the Republicans of Montgomery County to be on the ballot as a Republican in the primary season. So this is for the November next year election. We just need y'all to sign up.
Okay, do we have, y'all got quiet. That's pretty cool. Well, we'll go ahead and let Mr. West get started. I don't know if y'all know who Walter West is. He doesn't usually look at this like this when he's working. But I kind of guilted him in by posting a nice dress-up picture of him on our announcement. So he came all spruced up for us, but it was nice. He shaved and got a haircut. Fresh from the border somewhere at an undisclosed location, Mr. Walter West.
Good evening, folks. One, I'd like to thank you guys for being here. This has been one of my home away from homes. Even when I'm down on the border, I do get a ton of phone calls to see what's happening on this side and what's happening on that side. So, as most of you know, or some of you know, I took a position with a development company, and we are currently building a wall. So the real wall. Right now, we've got an investiture of $120 million. That's not a part of the state funding. If you look at it, how many bills have been passed? Anybody know for actually building the wall? Zero. That is correct. I was very pleased to be able to capture with a group of people 10 miles north of Eagle Pass. Matter of fact, whenever the Texas Facilities Commission opened up and had a discussion with us by phone on Thursday of last week, their website had just changed from 1.9 miles built to 10.8 miles built. They didn't know we were going to get a hold of a conversation so quick with them. They were hoping that next Thursday was when we were going to pick up the phone and dial in, but we happened to catch everybody before they left the Capitol for the Labor Day weekend. That being said, this is where we need you guys.
What's the mileage you said it was built?
What's that?
What you said about the mileage?
So the actual mileage that we've seen built is 1.9 miles, although now the Texas Facilities Commission website has been updated since last Wednesday, which would be 10.08 miles is what they're saying. The cost is anywhere from $23 to $50 million a mile. We have a Houston company down here that can do it for less than $13 million a mile. And at the rate, since the 10.8, I guess, means that's been 27 months, the Houston County Earthlock, and it's earthlock.com. Earthlock, and then it's LOC, so leave out the K.com. They can do that at a rate of 2 to 5 miles a week. That is my guesstimation. He is telling me more, but I am promising less so that we can deliver more. We have been working on this opportunity, I'd have to say, for the past 6 months. This goes in line with the trafficking work that I'm working on, anti-trafficking, I should say, working with the sheriffs. We have a task force, matter of fact, our local task force here that does not include Montgomery County, although the area of enforcement is Highway 59 in the east side of Montgomery County, is included in the AOR, the area of operations. That does include East Montgomery County. The problem is the Commissioner's Court, no matter what you're told, has not passed a resolution. Right. And in East Montgomery County, last week when I was talking, we brought that up again. So the fact that you have 3 commissioners and a judge unwilling to budge should tell you something. All they gotta do is pass a silly little group of letters, silly little group of numbers, post it, discuss it, have you guys come in, and put it out there. I feel strongly that Matt Gray over there is 110% behind it. He's very new into the office, but he grew up in East Montgomery County. He overwhelmingly won his election. It was not a negative smear election. It was one of the coolest elections I've seen in the past 15 to 20 years here in Montgomery County, period. That being said, we have a huge problem that brings the border up here to us. A lot of you guys are discussing the colonias. That's been a discussion for the past 15 to 20 years we've been bringing up. This is one of my reasonings that I wanted a Tea Party on the east side of Montgomery County, which happens to be, the current one is the Kingwood Tea Party. And while I helped them facilitate a lot, and they have great speakers, they have great meetings, the whole bit, they get behind the wrong people. They do not discuss the right topics.
That's right.
And so everyone says, oh, they're the Tea Party, and I'll pretty much concur with that. I've known Robin and Jim for quite some time. They actually physically live in Cleveland, Texas. I've been to their house. We need a strong Montgomery County Tea Party outreach in East Montgomery County. We need it over in Magnolia. Well, this is where you guys are at. But you'll notice Matt Gray made a comment. The comment that he made last week at our town hall, that the was that the Freedom Conference, or was that the whole entire deal? That was the party? Okay. That was a outstanding event. I actually wish we would have had some hospital district members to speak over there. We had Randy Henderson's representative to speak, and we had Rowdy Hayden's representative to speak. And the neat thing is, and of course, Matt Gray. The neat thing is they put out some facts and figures. They did learn that the sheriff, which is Randy Henderson, is the supreme law enforcement in the county. When it comes time for federal to come in, they have to ask the permission of the local sheriff, regardless. Now, that was not known by people passed down, but that is something they definitely know now. Randy Henderson's known that since he ran the last time, and I actually supported his opponent, a good friend of mine, Jim Napolitano. And I'm wholeheartedly behind Rand taking it back. One of the mainstream morons that's running against him may have a Texas Rangers background, but any knucklehead that gets involved in local party politics so that he can run for the highest law enforcement position and screw it up as badly as he did, he's already fallen flat on his face. So, cowboy hat looks cute, but at the same time, you've got to be able to be into the politics. And if you've seen, Ray Henderson may not be a favorite to a lot, but he's been just to most of those. So, and, yeah, good politician. At the same time, though, you've got to be able to stick to your guns. And that's something we've seen on the law enforcement side several years in a row now. So I definitely am going to give it that to him. Back to what Matt Gray discussed. He discussed the building permits. There's more building permits and electrical hookups being made in East Montgomery County, Precinct 4, than there are in Arkansas and Mississippi combined.
Wow.
And that's, he got those numbers from Henderson. So that's who our provider is on that side of the county. And those are truthful. He's run with those facts since he was campaigning. Dug into those and looked into them. And that's one thing that we've definitely come across and seen and found to be truthful. Matter of fact, if I have found that with Matt, if it comes from his mouth, he has already vetted the information, and he does not give out irregular information, and he corrects things that are wrong. If he doesn't know something, he'll tell you, I don't know, I'll check it out. So this is where we need to start getting behind our commissioners, whether they're good, they're bad, or ugly, and we need to start force feeding them. So for those of you that show up at Commissioner's Court, if they've got a new procedure, I say definitely get on the docket, get on the ballot ahead of time, or get on the speaking agenda ahead of time, and get in there and put your 2 cents to use. Make sure we've got a good collective voice, that if a group of y'all goes in there, make sure that they're thinking about that. These resolutions, especially on the invasion declaration that other counties have gotten passed, these are resolutions that we all need to make sure that they hear. And they need to have a stream of about 200 people walk in there. Even if they limit your time to 1 minute, it's real simple. Just read the resolution, one after the other, until you get to where you repeat it. And keep doing it over and over again until these knuckleheads finally get it. Do not believe your elected officials. Have we all learned that from Joe Biden's office? Okay. Currently, right now, with what's going on in the border, we have several cartels that have made their way over the river and into our woods. They live here in Cartel Woods. Y'all seen that? Okay. That'd be Carlton Woods. Carlton Woods. Yes. The Woodlands. Yeah. So a lot of the management of the different cartels, they live in the woods. Don't let the bright shiny objects of the colonials get to you. Look at what's around us. Why has mall security had to tighten its ropes? Okay, these are things we've been looking at since 2015, 2016. And unfortunately, it's from our last group of law enforcement commissioners that let the ball down. While they were giving away toll road property, fighting us on actual comprehensive local items, bond elections, things like that, where you get behind a candidate and they tell you one thing and they turn around and do another. I think we saw that with the judge. I don't want to harp on the county judge, but we saw him in the House, and then everybody got Rochambeau the second time when he came here, and the Tea Party supported him, and we didn't get a good number out of that. We need to get behind our elected officials, period. And getting behind those elected officials, if they're not doing the right thing, we need to present them with the right thing and present them with every opportunity to fail that we can get logged down. What we have happening in Houston is coming up here. It has been coming here. Has anyone noticed the crime rate in Montgomery County is rising? And so as it rises, we 10 years ago, they created a magnet for the folks to get here. Now that they're coming, law enforcement is falling behind. That's where we need to get behind, especially a lot of our law enforcement officers that are here. Not just that have lived here, but have physically been doing the work. I can say a couple names, and you'll get some boos, and you get some ahs, and some yays. But at the same time, every one of these law enforcement agents, officials that are elected, they need our support. No matter what the politics are going to turn into for the campaign season, you need to get behind them and make sure that they're being forced to do the right thing. Right now, we currently have, we've discussed tonight, everyone's agreed that we haven't had any good border wall legislation, correct? The only good border wall legislation that couldn't get out of the Senate or get taken up by the House that we've seen, Brandon Creighton. He's had some good stuff out there, and he's on he's on education, period. He's got the highest budget. That is a guy that he is savvy. He knows how to talk to the other side, bring him in. That's somebody we need to get behind. Brandon's a friend, and we've actually had conversations this weekend. But we need to get behind these guys and make sure that they have the support that they need, not just from the constituents, but from around the state. So those of you that are in line with Freedom Caucuses across the state, we need to get those people behind us. Because most of all the good politics in Texas do start here. There's a couple other counties that we run neck and neck with, but the problem is, right now, as we've seen, the party failed when it came time to looking at what's going on in Montgomery County. And anybody who jumps behind morons that do not want to play by the rules, those are the folks that need to be set. Not on social media, but in practicality. We need to get block walkers out there. We need to engage the youth. I did get to talk to a stream of youth that are over here. As a matter of fact, I'll be with my company has been sponsoring some dove hunts and some youth outings and whatnot. And we're engaging with those kids, teenagers. Some of them are going to be 18 when it comes time to start voting in March in the primary. Obviously, we've got them on our side because of where they sit as far as being conservative. But the shiny objects that they're being dangled with right now, I've got a kid who's a senior this year. Great kid, genius. All the colleges are pouring in right now. I'm looking at the mail. I said, hey, save your mail. Did you know that now there's an application fee kids have to pay? Yeah. Well, it's been one for a while, but that was one thing I did was I wrote out letters all across the nation where I thought I wanted to go. I got those acceptance, rejections, whatever. But yeah, now your kids are having to pay anywhere from $50 to $500. And that's just because of the sheer number of applications those people receive from kids that aren't serious about going there. So I'm looking at where we're heading with our future, and I'm looking around this room right now. I'm not knocking anybody on age, because trust me, I'm over that hill. But at the same time, we need to get out to a younger population. With what Christian's doing with the Youth Summit, that's going to be huge. We need to get, if we can get those kids in there and they can be sponsored, think about that. What you guys are doing with the golf tournament, that's going to be huge. The people in this room right now, y'all are the ones who've driven most of the work here in Montgomery County. And in driving and working in Montgomery County for years, that's the reason I got involved. I literally thought the Tea Party fell apart. Let's just say back in 2014, 2015, but that has not been the case. You guys revived it. Matter of fact, we're fixing it. John and Sandra and I are on the road. Obviously, y'all seen our little webcast, Texas Fully Loaded. We're also on a network that shows 50 to 60,000 people a week are watching. So they're taking in what we're doing. A lot of them are keying in on what's happening in Montgomery County and applying that back to them across the nation. What we need to do is make sure you guys are engaged with what we've got going on the border right now, the numbers, and let me get the numbers to you. There's facts that people don't hear. The fact that our Customs and Border Patrol Division, agency, the DHS, has actually been paying people to allow illegal aliens to cross on their property. Your tax dollars, up to $40,000 a month, and I'm actually going to put it one person, the Urbina Farms people, the Urbina family that owns Heavenly Farms. They just bought it in 2019, 2021. It was official 2021. They've been making 40 grand a month. And that's where Abbott's buoys are at. The buoys, every left-wing organization is coming this up. It's hurting the zebra mussels. If you go to the Texas Department of Parks and Wildlife website, has anyone done that? Have y'all seen what zebra mussels are? They're an invasive species. They literally say, fishermen, boaters, when your boats come out of the water, wash that crap off so it doesn't go to the other side of the state. Okay. What do you think is going to hurt the zebra mussels more? 16 to 30,000 Haitians peeing in your water? 40 to 50,000 people every other month crossing? Or are we going to have the same thing we've been having? Just movement after movement after movement of people coming across our border. Those folks are, if you've seen the legislation in Florida, and this is the legislation we need in Texas, people started saying, hey, September 1st, you should see what they just opened up in Florida. Nobody wants to discuss Florida. Oh, Ron DeSantis is running against Trump. Ron DeSantis and a friend of mine, Cayenne Michael, she is a representative out of Jackson. She has already paid the ultimate price to run as a 60-plus-year-old representative for her state of Florida. Her son Brandon was killed by an illegal alien. I met her back in 2019. She was just elected to the legislature last year. She's going back into Florida to get more comprehensive legislation. And as a black mother of a child that was killed by illegal aliens, you want to know whose heart is for her to work with when she sat at the desk for Donald Trump and helped him with the angel families? Her own party, the Republican Party. Republicans, especially in Texas, are killing legislation that Florida is passing. They literally have it to where the state police get to deport you out of the state if you have another state's driver's license, yet you are an illegal alien. That is our one problem here. We have people that are moving into Texas. Guess what they do back home? They register as voters. Guess who's going to come here and register to vote? Who's going to work on the research to clear those roles? Because right now our Secretary of State, former Senator Jan Nelson, is she helping us? No. I've got so many FOIAs into her office that they've come back and said, hey, how much money do you have to pay? Really? I just needed one name. Bam. And the nice thing is it's a criminal and illegal alien. And she wanted to give that. So this is where we bamboozled and we hit the governor's office. Primary was over, election's over, he won. That's who we got. Now's the time to get behind him. We have to push him to get the right things done. And keep this in mind, it's not always that one guy up there doing things. It's the people, their consultants behind them. And that's our number one problem. Currently, right now, I'll give you another set of numbers here. With what I've personally seen in building the wall, up until last Wednesday, the state website had not changed at all, even though there had been no construction since June. Physically, I've been to those areas. I've talked to these farmers, and the 10 miles of land that I was able to procure for a company for them to be able to start the construction, which would be $120 million. And if you look at the price tag on that, the amount of money we've already spent in the billions, we could have had the wall back in 2018. Everyone decided that Donald Trump was going to make everything happen, so what did they do? They kicked their feet up and did nothing. We're going to let the big guy take it. And what we lost in 2020, because that's we're the ones who lost. What are you guys seeing right now in the court? We are seeing a banana republic that started in Georgia. And it's going to start in every other state. And one of these secretaries of states, what are they going to do? They're going to keep him off the ballot. And this isn't about him, this is about you. This is about your choice. This is about your ability to vote, your freedoms. This is stuff our state house, our state and federal house should have already taken care of. Our state house, what starts tomorrow? The Paxton Circus. I was a friend of Paxton until 2019. After that, I'm one of the ones that physically flew to Washington, D.C. and said, hey, Louis, we got something going on in Texas that we need to watch out for. You can ask Louis, he'll tell you, wow, Walt, how did you call for the impeachment? We called for this back in 2021. Yep, 2021, whenever it came time for him to file. I told them they're going to get Paxton out of office. And then they couldn't do it with the candidates they put against him. And who would run a moron like George P. Bush after what he did to the Land Commission office? The fact that he even got to the runoff, look at who he's in business with. Look at all the fake propaganda that a lot of you guys are reposting. A lot of you guys have been believing in for years. This is the time people need to vet their information. We've got folks flying over the colonias discussing only half of what the problem is. If you're not going to discuss, or if you're just gonna repost and reprint, then don't get involved. Because all we're doing is pushing numbers. People are raising money on our misery up here in Montgomery County, in San Jacinto County, in Liberty County. What folks don't understand is here in Montgomery County, the reason why we have a problem next door that's so bad and nobody knew about it, because the State Department of Public Safety has us in different divisions. Everything in Liberty County gets moved out of the Criminal Investigation Division that's in Beaumont. Yeah, investigators that work in Beaumont come out of Harris County. Harris County is up here with us over here. The Texas Rangers, look at where they're officed. Talk to your local Department of Public Safety individuals. Talk to Rand Henderson, ask him where he gets his support out of. And I'm not gonna knock a hole in the Department of Public Safety. Those guys are doing the best with what they got. But whenever I see people, because they're always pulling me over on board, that are from East Texas, I saw a guy that I physically helped with a bullet wound back in 2007. He's down there running the border. I happened to be home whenever we had one of the DPS troopers that got shot, had him flown in the middle, I think it was 2007 or 2008, I forget which one it was. But he got flown into Memorial Hermann by helicopter by the U.S. Coast Guard because the storms were so bad they couldn't get a civilian area on one side of it. And that was San Jacinto County. That's our neighbor to the north. And has anybody seen what's going on there right now? As soon as you get out of Montgomery County, lined up right across the street from San Jacinto County and Liberty County, north of 105, there's a whole new slew for 5,000 to 6,000 homes to be built. Some of these homes, the signs are reading, homes starting in the 30,000s. How many of you guys are paying taxes on anything over 35,000, 50,000, 200,000, $500,000? I know we got some $1 million landowners that come here every now and then. But I'll tell you right now, 30,000 is a magnet. What our commissioners did almost 20 years ago, about 15 to 20 years ago, giving away Lake Houston to the city of Houston, moved it inward into our county. That part of Lake Houston was definitely ours. Our county government gave away, our commissioners voted to give all that away that the Texas Department of Parks and Wildlife was giving away whenever with the Lake Houston State Park. They gave it to the city of Houston. Luckily at that time, they had a Republican that was in office there. But guess what just happened? That Republican city council member is no longer there. We've had folks from Fort Bend County at the Lake Houston City Park. Houston is literally on the doorsteps of East Montgomery County, inside of Montgomery County. Their water systems are moving into East Montgomery County, and what's happening up here with the woodlands, these are things that are coming to us. The Lone Star Groundwater Conservation Board, the San Jacinto County, the San Jacinto River Authority. I mean, we are paying for water out the wazoo, and it's all about getting folks here. It's all about where we're gonna, we're gonna argue subsidence, we're gonna argue flooding, things like that. We haven't been paying attention to what Harris County hasn't been doing. That's why the floods became so bad up here. And why is that? Because we're a magnet. Eventually, those homes being built for 30,000, they'll be over the price tag of 100,000. Those might just be shell homes. I haven't seen those kind of prices since Jim Walter homes invaded East Montgomery County back when I was a kid. Any of you guys remember the Jim Walter homes? The Tilson homes, the stuff that used to sit down I-45 up on stilts? Yeah, model homes, and oh, you know what? Matter of fact, I had an aunt and uncle, their first home was a Jim Walter home. Back in the 60s, cost them $1,200 to build, just a shell. And the rest of the family went up there and worked on it. I wasn't around in the 60s, so I'm relying on them telling me the truth. So they are the same who lied to me about the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. But trust me, I believe when my dad was telling me about the sheetrock work he had to do in the 60s. So key is we need to get behind each other. We need to get behind folks that we can put in these precinct chair positions. You guys, a lot of y'all are over 50, are doing the most amount of walking than anybody in the state. I watched Catherine Parker. She's out on the border. She's in 74 against Eddie Gallegos? What's his name? I got the wrong name in there, Gallegos in the name, but it's, anyway, 74. Eddie Morales. He won because the Associate Republicans of Texas got behind him, the Democrat, instead of the Republican. Tony Gonzalez has been censured by the party, has been defended by the NCCR, what do they call it? No, that's the crane. NRCC, the National Republican Congressional Committee. They came out defending him a week after that censure from the Texas Republican Party. Now they called up and said, wow, we didn't realize that censure method. The Republicans can't back him, and the party can't. The party actually has to spend 12% of their funds. This is why your state party doesn't have any money. Because nobody wants to put money into having to fight stuff like that, fight against Republicans. The fights you guys have here against the establishment folks is what you're calling them. You need to just start calling what they are. They're Democrats within our party. Rhinocrats. Lord, who said that? Bam, you get labeled on that one, the Rhinocrats. You're exactly right. There we go, Rhinocrats. I get more election legislation from Democrats in other states. They can't do Republicans because they can't win. That's how the valley worked. That's how the river worked. Those folks are spinning their sausage and all of their stuff up here. They're slowly moving in up here. And these are people we can capture. These are people we can catch. These are people that will vote our direction. You don't have to label them Hispanic Republicans. You don't have to label them Latino Republicans. I've been a part of several groups that ultimately are getting it wrong. We're all Americans and we're all Texans. If you want to get behind a winning party, how about a winning party that has a Democrat sheriff that's all in the bag for Donald Trump now, like he was in 2020? The fact that Zapata County, which became a Republican county on the presidential side in 2020, obviously we lost, but that was the only Democrat county in Texas to flip to the president, Trump. And at that time, nobody could figure out how it happened. Physical Democrats with conservative values, because the absence of the party, or the absence of the stupidity of the party, which is what we have here. And we all know which direction that goes. So, not very Christ-like, is it? You go see the fun there. This is the only county to be anti-Christ in, isn't it? And yeah, there's a couple preachers that come after me, but guess what? Those same preachers are the ones that talk to that man or his people while they're spewing their lies. So you look at people like Zapata County, a good friend of mine, Jimmy Thatcher. She is their party chairman. Ted Cruz lied to her. Myra Flores lied to her. Monica De La Cruz lied to her. All these people jump on Fox News and say, hey, look what we did. The NRCC, the RNC, RPT, raised about $40 million nationwide on the work that a bunch of Democrats did until they finally got a party in 2021. I was there when they took the vote, and Alan West was the chairman of the meeting, and they physically formed the Republican Party of Zapata County with their duly elected chairman of the SRAC on the meeting we had in Laredo at that time, in March of 2021. That was also the same time when the media came out because our party chairman was under indictment. Y'all remember that? Oh, was that confusing everybody? Yeah, that's when the media came after Alan West because they thought he was Ken Paxton. Yeah. Yeah. Alan West, the Black Party chairman at the time, was being accused of being Ken Paxton because Ken Paxton was invited to speak at Laredo, and then all of a sudden, while Alan was given a press conference on our priorities, our values, the things that had just happened, the media was out there, oh, how can you be up here saying this while you're under indictment? And he looked and he said, under indictment? Who do you think I am? Well, you're Ken Paxton. He goes, that's a white guy. And he berated the media, but guess what? You didn't get a seat up here. I physically was there as he made these people, they literally dropped their cameras and walked away. They had a good moment to listen to something. Their Democrat mayor came and congratulated and thanked the Republicans for coming to Laredo and spending their time and their money. Those counties down there, legitimate counties, have the ability to flip our direction, yet we still want to fight in Harris County and Dallas and San Antonio and Fort Worth. If we take our strength here and we move it around the state to all these parties, the TRCCA, the Texas Republican County Chairman's Association, we had over 120 counties in the state of Texas where the Republican chairman did not know how to canvass their elections. Have y'all seen our elections get canvassed here? I have. Your county chairman literally said, we got the numbers, and the county chairman said, yeah, looks good to me. Didn't double check anything. Just because you're a strong Republican county doesn't mean you don't do the due diligence to make sure your elections are being done properly, including the Republican county. That's where you should spend the most time, because this is where we're the most diligent. So barring being behind morons like that, we need to start getting behind folks that can actually stop the magnet that's coming up here. I will be honest, I was not behind Greg Abbott on busing to other states. And now, that's something that's possibly gonna get him arrested in California. I will be one of the first people to help post bail for that. And most of y'all know me, I was behind Alan West, 110%. We physically had a game plan. But obviously that wasn't in the cards. Now, if we get behind our governor, and I'm not speaking to you as a converted rhino or nothing, that didn't happen. But I'm telling you right now, the one we've got, he has the ability to call for a special session, which he has said he's gonna do. He's gonna call for several. October's coming. The circus starts tomorrow. Now is the time to get behind the folks that are behind him and start pushing the legislation that we need to be pushing, especially on the border, especially with these mass groups that are coming through, with what's happening in our cities. Our Texas governor back in the 1920s took over the island of Galveston because the police weren't doing it. The Department of Public Safety went in. The governor has the ability to call martial law in whatever county. Not saying we need to run into a military organization, but if you have crimes down there happening on the numbers, guess where the crime spills over to? Right into our little house up here. Our little beacon of hope right now, it's got a lot of blemishes on it. The folks we have that have been creating a lot of legislation in the communities, a lot of these developments going up and around the state, came out of here. Y'all remember the Tommy Williams days, don't you? Remember what happened to our Adrian Heath? Okay. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. Now, it did happen. For those of you that don't remember Adrian Heath, he was a rent-a-voter. He moved into a hotel room so he could vote and make sure that mud districts didn't come up out of the ground. He was one of the only ones that the Attorney General at the time prosecuted. Anybody know who the Attorney General was in 2014, 2013? Your governor, that's right. We've only had 2 Attorney Generals in Texas since 2001, since John Cornyn stepped out. You want to know who, which of the governors that have, which of the Attorney Generals that have operated in the state of Texas have had more to do with voter fraud than anywhere else, anybody else we've had in history? Eric Holder. Obama's DOJ has done more for election integrity in Texas since 2001 than any of our current and past serving at that time. That would be your governor and Paxton. Paxton's on the hot seat tomorrow, and he shouldn't have been on the hot seat anytime past his swearing-in ceremony. Watch that circus that's gonna play out. Ask yourself why we didn't hear about Dave Fielding's medical misinformation that happened to him, or his being drunk. Okay? It all went away because why? Paxton became the new circus. That was your Republican Party leadership. That came out of Beaumont. Those are the folks that still have in there. And the folks that want to replace Dave Phelan, they'll better do your due diligence on that. Because if you elect a past, or if you push for a past president of the TRCCA, who's still on the SREC, and turn his back on this county here. Just, David Covey may look cute with that smile, and hey, I'm adding more children to the litter. But we don't need that moron up in Austin as much as we need a Dave Felon. Anyway, bottom line is this. Came up here, talked about the border. Border's here. You hear everybody saying it. Every county, every city is a border county, border city. You have people running for hospital district. Anybody here running for hospital district still here? Here we go. Y'all need to get on that man right there for his election cycle. Get him to talk to you about indigent care. How much of your tax dollars is paying the hospital district so they can treat illegal aliens? Look at what Florida's legislation just started doing. You have an emergency, they'll treat you. But guess what? You're getting the bill and the feds are getting the bill. Yeah. That's what everybody needs to start doing. Ambulances that go out to Liberty County, that go out to Kings Colony. They have to wait for the cops to get there. Why is that? Well, because they don't want to get shot at. We have that kind of violence going on here in Montgomery County all the time. We literally are the North Bank of Harris County. That is the Chicago of the South. You can talk about New Orleans all day long. That's what I have to look at right there. I was in New Orleans last month. I actually had a fun time with a bunch of Austrian Parliament members. And what were we discussing? Building a wall. Illegal immigration. The fact that Ukraine is invading their land because all the refugees from a war that we're funding.
Yes.
Look at who's doing it. I've been a little shocked at Morgan Luttrell. He's been doing some decent things. I still think he's asleep half the time, but still, he's been doing some decent, some really good things. The other knucklehead, hadn't heard much out of him. What's that guy's name?
Eye patch?
There we go. Can't take that guy serious anymore. Whenever I talk to friends of mine in the SEAL team, in the SEAL community, all they talk about is what a disappointment. Just because someone has veteran stamped on them doesn't mean you need to hire them. That's being spoken as a veteran, just so you know. We need to get off the politics and on the policy. You guys need to drive that policy. From the county on up. School districts, the school boards, been watching you guys in Conroe, Willis and all those, been doing wonderful. Keep that up. Those mama bears need your support, and they need to be up there speaking every chance they can, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes. You guys need to put your emails to use, postcards to use. Make this a place uncomfortable for liberals, because they're getting too comfortable in the party. Once we get the ones out of the party, then we can get the ones on the Democrat ticket. Or we can force all of ours over to the Democrat ticket, you never know. So, Wally Wilkerson was very good at bringing them over from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Well, what's that?
Then you'll have to answer questions about
Yeah,
gender.
no, there's only two genders. So anyway, I want to leave that with you there. Like I said, there's more than meets the eye. Watch TFL, watch Texas Fully Loaded. We're not just Sandra's on this kick about memes. So she's going to start putting out some factoid memes that y'all can share. I want to see what this meme war starts to look like, statistics and actual facts and figures. I watched Alan West as his following grew, and basically we watched the governor come around. If you looked up the governor, what he's doing right now is exactly what the Alan West campaign said it was going to do. Took a third term and the party chairman to make stuff like that happen, and the following. So if there's any questions, or trying to keep it short. If anyone's got any questions, and just keep those quick, and what I'll do is I'll
Anybody got one?
Here we go.
This is not about the border, but on the election, because there is talk out there that they'll try to take Trump off the ballot of different states. You can write in the name, is that correct? You still can write in?
Yes, but remember this, if they're not the registered name with the Secretary of State, but it doesn't, I mean, that's why Mickey Mouse never wins, even though Mickey Mouse gets the most number of votes. That's right.
Yeah. So what can we do to, make sure he gets, put the feet to the fire to keep him on the ballot, that he has the right to be on the ballot?
Well, then, go through a third party, get a petition to get it going that way. I don't think in Texas we're gonna have that issue. I think it's gonna be other states. And we can't do much about anything with what other states are doing.
Talk about colonials, like, well, I mean, I need you to elaborate a little bit. I thought colonials were like, I don't know, like slum work. Just tell me a little bit more about what's actually going on with it.
Liberty County, for those of you that may not have been listening or awake, and not maybe to throw a needle in your eye. Yeah, where y'all from? Okay. Folks, you need to lay the hands on these people. So listen, so Liberty County, and you have these going on in Harris County, by the way. Yeah, but I've been paying taxes here for quite some time. And actually, I grew up in the city of Southside Place. And then I lived in, so I went to Lamar High School, Pershing Middle School, Westview Elementary, cream of the crop of the areas. And it's gone to Hades in a handbag. You have the colonias, which cannot be built within 50 miles of the Texas border, are being built in Harris County. They've been built in Liberty County. And the thing about Liberty County is you have certain developers that develop property, and you have other developers that just let it happen, creating colonies, putting 5 and 6 families on quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, raw sewage. We had it in Kings Colony. Raw sewage was going into the ditches, and still do. So the environmental department, people need to start asking, what's the environmental department doing about that? That's been going on in Liberty County. Now, Harris County, you have a new set of friends over there. There's a big trailer park a Chinese guy just bought. It's around Greens Road. And then Greens Road heading out Intercontinental Airport, those areas there. Those are coming up. Matter of fact, Rodney Ellis, he's one of the ones who is on the ticket. You remember Rodney Ellis? Yeah, former state senator doing 95 miles an hour, gets pulled over. Yeah, he's one of their county commissioners now. He's one of the reasons why Lena Hidalgo can't eat Cheerios. And for those of you that don't know that, their county judge down there is still in the crazy house. We don't know where she's at. She's being, she's depressed the whole county, so. The fact that Biden can wake up in the morning and she can't tell you something about where our youth have gone. So, and you know what, also, I put that back on, I was gonna say Robert Eccles, good Lord. Who's your former county judge? Ed Emmett. Good Lord, I can't believe I forgot that name. I've got his phone number on my phone. So yeah, Ed Emmett. The fact that he lost an election to that moron, that is heavy duty. He was a good man. He was a good leader. But you know what? Just like some of our city council members over there, Jack, Cactus Jack Cagle, he lost his election to a Democrat also in the heavy. Yep. Well, he could have gotten out more. They got comfortable. You should make sure your candidates, your incumbents, do not get comfortable. So the Colonials, look them up. It is Liberty County. It's not all under the developers that you think they are, but they were advertising that stuff down in Toronto, Houston, and all that. Here, they were advertising Toronto, Houston, and Mexico, and it's not even in Houston. But they were using pictures off of the Woodlands, driving through the Woodlands, saying, "Hey, look what we can build for you." And if you go out there right now, there's the International Learning Schools of Texas. They physically have a Chinese school, a charter school out there that's a private charter school, but it's paid for by public tax dollars.
Similar to, I believe, now you have Harmony schools down in Harris County also.
Yeah.
This is not a Harmony school, but iltexas.org is the website. Look them up. They're all across the state, and they are being pushed by the Saudis, by a Saudi, or a Middle Eastern individual, group of individuals, and the Chinese.
I'm confused about the Paxton thing. Are you against them or?
Paxton didn't do anything legal wrong. But Paxton's also, we need to have Paxton, well, I say we, they need to have Paxton off the stage right now because he can't defend some of the Trump policies. He can't go to court over the border stuff. If you'll notice though, the governor has been using his own attorney. General Paxton, Attorney General Paxton is the attorney for the state of Texas. And remember, he did sue the Donald Trump administration because he sued the federal government. Trump just happened to be there. Who is suing them right now? We are losing every chance we can, every time we turn around about the balls in the river. Just stupid stuff.
Trump always talks so favorably about Ken Paxton.
I'm not saying anything negative about Ken Paxton right now. What's happening to Ken Paxton is a circus right now.
Exactly.
He has been the target for this length of time.
So the buoy is working?
Yeah, actually, we were down there with the buoys. The thing you see with the Democrats, Sylvia Garcia, Sheila Jackson Lee, Joaquin Castro. Joaquin Castro will talk to you about what happened in his own district. 53 illegal aliens died in the back of a trailer. I've gone there several times. There's a whole thing on this pitiful road in the backside of his district. He will not once go out there. There are crosses, there's 53 crosses for each individual, children and everybody. There were over 60 to 80, I don't know the numbers, but there were 60 to 80 people in the back of that thing. 53 died. And he'll go down there and put his hands on all the saw blades and all the other stuff that are on the buoys in the river. Yeah, that stuff, that's not, to be honest with you, we just need to put a wall in there and be done with it.
In response to the lady that was asking about the Secretary of State, Charlie Kirk had people call, all his followers. Charlie Kirk's followers called the Secretary of State in New Hampshire that was threatening to take Trump off the ballot, and they backed off of it. That was just last week. He said it was a mass call-in from his followers.
So I'll be with Charlie Kirk in the Fredericksburg Tea Party deal in Kerrville in 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, on the 22nd of September. And our people need to call in action item to our Secretary of State and find out why we're not getting the proper numbers and why stuff hasn't happened in Harris County with their elections. Well, why haven't we got the proper numbers? How about the 700 dead voters in Maverick County? Did y'all know that your newly Maverick County, Sandy Sassano, your newly Maverick County chair, who was brought in by the SRAC and then taken out by one of Congressman Tony Gonzalez's staffer's mother, and then reinstated yet again after she got back in office as the county chair? She actually got her 19-year election officer for the county. I don't know what they call them. It's not an elected official, but that individual was actually fired. Well, he resigned in lieu of being fired. This is a man who'd been in charge of their elections for 19 years because she went to the mat on this. Follow what Dana Myers is doing. You're a vice chairman for the state party. She's doing some, even though the state party right now is in shambles, she is doing some wonderful things. She's making sure the training that the TRCCA is falling apart on, the Texas Republican County Chairman's Association. That, Carl Rove is behind that group. Dick Weekly is behind that group. Associated Republicans of Texas, they're behind that group. Look at where the governor's money went to in 2022, when he made, or in 2021 when he made promises and he got us $50,000 return from the Republican Party of Texas because we did not have an in-person convention. And keep in mind, we could have had an in-person Republican Party convention in 2020. I was at the lawsuit. I was one of the ones who was on the lawsuit. I physically walked into the judge said, "Here's the keys to the George R. Brown." I walked in there and took selfies everywhere. Nobody demanded that their SRAC put together, other than here,
put together a meeting and call for a meeting so that we could get into into an in-person convention. If there was any time to blow your money and waste it on anything, it would be getting into Houston. The fact that Montgomery County was offered, the shenanigans behind what was actually physically offered and what they laughed about, oh, we're gonna have a barn somewhere. Our county judge should have talked to them and said, no, we've got the Woodlands. We had several hotels that could have accommodated the Republican Party of Texas in-person convention. They played the games of the governor's office and all of the shutdowns at that time.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that on a national and an international scale, there is some very ghoulish central bankers in London and in Europe who have been plotting everything that it was put into the government code by Biden to shut down, to impose the Green New Deal on the advanced sector countries and impose that also on the rest of the world, on the Latin American nations, the African nations, Middle Eastern and so forth. So the people who actually came out and said that they cannot survive another Trump presidency is the British Royal Institute of International Affairs.
You're actually correct. And if you look at who's pouring across our borders, you just named it. The folks that are getting it easy in their countries. Remember, we have all the EPA regulations in our country. But yet China and other countries are the ones that are polluting. India, they're polluting. Not saying all Indians are bad, but I'm saying that nobody's hitting them on their standards. The World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and the fact that the World Health Organization is getting cited by Facebook, we don't have Paxton in office right now to fight for that. All the censorship and all that stuff that's happening, and well, you can just go on Facebook if you want. Okay, get off Facebook. They're still shunting your voice. Trust me. I'm banned on YouTube and some other things.
77% of the people that were polled by CBS, when they were asked if they thought that the Justice Department charges against Trump, they said yes.
Do you watch CBS?
No.
Do you watch CNN?
No, I watch Twitter and
So here, I'll be honest with you, I do. You folks that just watch Fox News, because they're a joke also. You need to watch everything. MSNBC, you need to watch what they're saying. And then you need to look at what's actually happening. That's how you, whenever you talk to their voters, whenever you talk to their viewers, that's how you beat them whenever you know what their intelligence is. That's what we did in the United States military. We had counterintelligence. I watch CNN all the time. I watch MSNBC all the time. Trust me, I know it's garbage. But whenever I talk to a liberal out there and then I throw something back at them, I don't throw a Donald Trump's the president back at them. I throw facts that I just heard off of MSNBC. Well, I heard that. Well, then if that's the case, then why is this also happening? Oh, then they go crazy. Donald Trump's your president. And actually, what's funny, I even come back and like, you Trumpers are all the same. I say that to liberals. You want to see people explode? They scream and yell and gnash and gnaw teeth and they run off. And I'm like, open up my Trump shirt. And there we go.
Thanks, Walter.
Newsmax, they get it right about 80% of the time. They're boring, but they've been on some of my escapades on the border. So, and I know several of their people, they put several of our candidates and several of our sheriffs have been on their program. Like I said, it gets boring, but that's where the truth is. If there's anyone you really want to watch and you want to learn about what's going on next door, I have a young lady up in Dallas, Texas. Her name is Sheena Rodriguez. She's got facts, and these are things that we'll put out. A friend of mine, Anthony Aguero, he's getting hit by Michael Yon and several others on social media right now because they have big Twitter followers. But this is an individual, former criminal, friend of mine that I'll stand behind because he's actually physically out there working the truth. He went to jail. He said, "Holy crap!" I woke up, and you know what? What did Donald Trump do? Criminal justice reform. The fact that he's got a mugshot, the black population is coming around him. Where was the black population whenever BLM was burning down in Washington DC?
Yeah.
Under his watch. Whenever they burned down Chicago or the riots there, Portland, Oregon, Minneapolis, those things. You know, where was the black community there? Oh, they were all Trump haters. And why? Because
Why are we talking about ISIS?
ISIS. You mean the ones that are across the border? The ones that are taking the Ukrainian, our stuff that went to the Ukraine, that's getting back to the cartels, the same as Afghanistan? I don't know, I would not want anybody to accuse me of leading by, that's literally like, Biden, yeah. So whatever the conspiracy or conspiracy theory is on who's leading the president, they need to look factually at what's leading the president. Because I would never want my name attached to that moron any day. I literally think that that's elderly abuse.
Do you think that like the weapons from Ukraine are in Mexico? Like are
Do I know that the weapons from the Ukraine or Afghanistan are in Mexico? Yes. We've seen our own Mark 19s, our own U.S. military equipment that has been in the hands of the cartel as they're fighting in Tamaulipas, which is a state that runs from the Gulf of Mexico, just a little bit past Laredo. We've seen that over with the Sinaloa, which has most of the west coast of Mexico. So Chiapas, you physically have this, the CGNG, Cartel del Noreste, Cartel New Generation, and those groups are here. They're within 15, 20 miles of where we're at right now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an accountant or two sitting in the woodlands. They have a sophisticated operation. When you look at your avocados, you need to ask yourself which cartel is harvesting these. That's true stuff there. Social media, Texas Fully Loaded, just look it up, you'll see that beautiful man right there, my ugly face, that young lady over there. It's on Rumble. It's on YouTube. This young lady she's, yeah. Right. Well, no, I do have Texas, or Sabeka Nation is what I'm doing. Mine hasn't come out of the cusp yet. I've got a whole bunch of content that I'm putting up, and I'm working with several podcasts across the nation to, whenever we start putting stuff up, it's gonna, because that's how you grow your audience. You just gotta beat the algorithms. So yeah, and it's 15 to 20 minutes at a time. It's not these 1 hour, 2 hour, and 3 hour boring. Oh golly, back in 1933 is what I did. No, neither was I. So in less than 100 years, we have physically gone back to what happened in 1930s Germany. This has been happening here since 2018 when everybody said, I can't believe you're saying that.
So my concern is Liberty County because we're right next to it. So what can we do here? Because we know we have some corrupt elected officials in Conroe, this county. How can we keep that not happening here? I need to know what I can do.
Keep our guys in check in this group right here for what's happening in Liberty County and San Jacinto County. And I've got friends in San Jacinto County doing the right things. But all of their problems stem from our politicians of the past. And that's where we need to, 99 comes right through here. You get on Liberty County, bam, you're in the woodlands. You get back you leave the woodlands, you get back to Liberty County, and that's one car chase away. So the thing, it takes a grassroots effort and it takes a growing effort.
help us work the polls?
Yeah, help work, not just work in the polls, help inform people and make sure you have the right information. Last one.
Yeah, what can we do as far as you've got all these people here? Unless you have a political will to send those people back to the country they came from, everything we do is useless.
No, you can't have that attitude. You have to force your good and bad people to do the right thing. Whenever they start seeing the crowds coming, pitchforks.
But you still don't get the people out.
You gotta work harder. You elected them.
Oh, they're in the Woodlands, they're in Houston, they're in Liberty County, San Jacinto County. They're within 7 miles of this building right here. Some of our elected, your sheriff's department is, but you can't just go in and kick everyone's door down. You gotta have, we got a process, and they're trying to be as legal as possible, so.
Thank you, Mr. West, for explaining me off the show. Before I let John come up here, Sandra Witten is the actual host of Texas Fully Loaded. She's on every day. Mr. Boucher is on Tuesdays. Walter is on whenever the heck he feels like it. Women on Wednesday is on Wednesday, and that's when I'm on. Join us, make comments. Sometimes we're funny, sometimes we're what?
But tomorrow, we have a roving reporter with a good-looking set of hair. This head of hair. This guy right here will be up at the Capitol, and he will be at the Paxton Circus.
Thursday is Taco Thursday, and it's kind of up in the air. And then Friday, it's about the J6ers. If you want to have your heart torn out, that's one that you want to go. It's 2 hours every day. I know it's hard for most of you. My husband says if you don't stop listening and being on the show 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, because nothing gets done for 2 hours a day while you're doing this. But you learn more. John, who's going to be on tomorrow as a roving reporter, fills you in from around the world, all the way back down to where it's most important, which is here in the county and here in our state. So y'all tune in, keep us on the air. We don't get paid.
Well, thank you so much. We upset some listener one time, and it's Sandra's show. Walter and I just hang out, and they said, John Boucher, some activist, Walter West, this activist, and some lady from Laredo. So that's what we call Sandra now, some lady from Laredo. Did you want to hear a little bit about the Paxton thing tomorrow, what we're going to do? Okay. Won't get too in the weeds on it, but I just want to give y'all some background on what is happening. I actually had lunch with Will Metcalf the other day, and I told him I was very much against your vote. I support you most of the time. Will Metcalf is an A voter most of the time, conservative issues. He's helped us out a lot on the Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District. He helped us get Jace Houston going from the San Jacinto River Authority. That was a big deal. Yes, it was. You can clap for that. But I told him I was against his vote, and there's a lot of reasons for that, which is for a whole nother speech. But I will tell you what we're doing tomorrow. The process tomorrow is this. There's a House Board of Managers that will be prosecuting the case. That board is comprised of 7 Republicans and 5 Democrats. Now, those titles, if you follow the House, doesn't mean a whole lot. It's 12 people we're going to be prosecuting. There's 30 members of the Senate that are going to be voting on these articles of impeachment. Now, right out of the gate, I'm a little bit concerned because there's 20 articles of impeachment, but they're only hearing 16 of them because they say we want to save 4, we can go back later. So, thank you, yeah, so that's what we're going through right now. So they're going to hear 16 articles of impeachment, and they need 21 of the 30 senators to vote in favor of saying that he violated this article of impeachment, he's guilty. If they get 21 and he's found guilty, he is removed from office on any one of them, okay? If he's found not guilty on all of them, you still got those 4 hanging out that they're going to come back after him later on. If he's exonerated, he goes right back into office and everything's done. But right now, he's technically suspended. So that's what we're looking at for this impeachment trial. Hang on one second. So Dan Patrick is going to be presiding over that deal. Now, I have questions, and maybe you guys can answer this. First of all, it is considered a criminal trial. So Paxton's people are saying you cannot compel me to testify. But the other side is saying House rules do not prohibit us from calling any witness. So that's going to be the first drama you're going to see is whether they'll make Paxton testify.
They want Paxton to get on the stand and say, I plead the fifth. He has to testify in order to plead the fifth. So they want to make a spectacle just like they did of Donald Trump. Seems like what they're trying to do. Yeah. My question for Will Metcalf, and I'm being recorded, Will tell you this is true. I said, how come you just didn't wait until this was adjudicated by the Texas Supreme Court? Why didn't you just wait until this was adjudicated? Because what happened was Paxton sent a request that the House issue this multi-million-dollar settlement to the people that were making the case against him, right? And the House said, we're not going to pay that, which automatically defaults it into the Supreme Court. So it would have made sense to me to have it go through the Supreme Court and have it adjudicated, and if he was found guilty in an actual trial, then to proceed with impeachment. Instead, we did ready, fire, aim, and in just a couple of days, they came up with this article of impeachment and this special investigating counsel committee in the House that violated House rules. They violated House rules because they did not swear witnesses. You can waive swearing witnesses for every committee except a special investigating House committee. So what happens now? If you go through this trial now, and I think this is John Boucher, Texas fully loaded prediction again. They always come true, don't they? Always come true. I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do. Ken Paxton's people are gonna argue about the procedure not being followed. They're gonna try and delay it, and they're gonna come back with the other four later. Because can there be double jeopardy if he's exonerated of these charges, and then the Supreme Court finds him guilty later? It's gonna be a mess. So that's why I'm going up there tomorrow. I don't usually get up that early in the morning unless I have a fishing pole in my hand, but I'll be there tomorrow for this trial because this is a historic moment and I would like to be there. And there are a lot of questions. I wish I could answer everybody's question, but honestly, this is not something that happens very often. This is very unusual the way they did this. Ken Paxton comes out and says, Dave Phelan, you're drunk, you need to resign. And they go, okay, we're impeaching you. That's pretty much what it looked like to all of us, right? Yeah. So that's where we are with that. So I'll see you tomorrow. Tune in to Texas Fully Loaded. Yes, sir.
Have they actually ruled on the Lesby's dismissal order?
There's been a slew of dismissal.
Have they ruled on it?
No, that's why we're having the trial tomorrow.
That's the first.
That'll be the first order of business is to hear all the motions for dismiss and argument. Yes, ma'am?
How many Democrats? You said there's 30 senators and there's,
I don't know how the committee is comprised on that. I just know there's 7 and 5 on the House committee that's prosecuting it. And Bonnie Lyons,
so I'm wondering how many Democrats are in the Senate?
I don't know. I just said I don't know of the 30. But Bonnie Lyons, our legislative person for.
Paul said 12.
Okay. 1812. Thank you. Bonnie Lyons, our legislative person, just wrote a really good article about this whole process, which will be posted on the Republican Reporter. You can go on our newsletter, you can check it out.
Yes.
I don't know. There is an article on Texas.
It's on the website.
So tomorrow, I was not prepared for questions, okay? And I have a Louisiana public school education, so you'll just calm down. Okay? That's okay.
There's a website.
All right, yes, ma'am.
I did find a website called Stand With Paxton.
Stand With Paxton website. Thank you. Yes, there's a lot of petitions going on. Be careful putting your private information on petitions going out there. They're fishy sometimes, so just be very careful with that. Okay, well, thank you guys. I'll tune in tomorrow. You'll see me live from the Capitol with Dale Inman, my partner in crime. Pastor Dale Inman's going to be going with me. Actually, I'm making him drive, so pray for me because the guy drives terrible.
So you are praying for in that group. It ought to be interesting. Yeah, watch Texas Fully Loaded. There are a lot of questions there are a lot of answers to questions that you didn't know you had until you listen to John and to Walter and to Sandra, because they bring up things that you think, never thought of that. What time does the trial start? Oh, Mr. Boucher?
Well, when you get up there, the way they do is they drag their feet forever. We think it's probably gonna start at 1.
Okay.
We don't know.
And the link to the live hearing will also be on Texas Floyd Logan across the bottom. I'm saying.
She said it's scheduled to start at 9.
I'm not an admin, I'm just telling those who will be on TL. Okay, on TL. Oh, Sandra, I don't know how Sandra's gonna do the show tomorrow. Because if you notice, Sandra doesn't have a voice. Are you yelling at people? Well, she doesn't. Okay, what, I don't know how active, because we have a lot of visitors or first timers in here, I don't know how active you are. But if you wanna know why there's a Tea Party, remember, in the primary, Republicans can't endorse the Republican Party. They're for every Republican. That's the reason why when you get your Republican mailer, it has Republican candidates. We, the Tea Party, vet and pick the best Republican that matches our standards. Mr. Worth here is in charge of our vetting team. He's like, General Patton probably holds nothing on him because he holds a really tight rein on the vetting group, and we're fixing to start vetting. And we dig into information that you didn't think about, you didn't even, I would never have thought a candidate would run for office and have on his record. We look for those things. So that is the reason why we still stay very, very busy during election season, because there are a lot of good Republicans out there, but they're not all the same. Heck, there are a lot of Tea Party members who are not all the same. Some of us are more conservative than the others. But that's the reason why we do our vetting the way we do, so that everyone gets to kind of weigh in, and then our paid members get to vote whether or not we release that information. So stay involved with that, because we do a lot of work to make sure that we let you know who we think the best candidate in a race is. Sometimes there's not one, and that's the sad part. So, do we have any questions that we can answer? Oh, gosh. Yeah, John, you want to touch that one? Depends on how many people you want to send it to, but.
Depends on the size of it. It depends on the size of the mailer. Generally speaking, it's about 35 cents. And to have them printed up in an 8.5 by 11, it's probably about 20 cents. But that's if we're ordering significant volume. During the last election, November, we were overrun, and instead of spending time in the parking lot, I was more in Office Max, which was great, having voter guides printed up so we could hand out, because we were running out every day. And that's a good problem to have, but it costs money, so if you guys can help out in that regard, that'd be great. I think we sent out 29.
So the point is, it costs $20,000-$30,000 every year, so
Yeah.
that time of year, we'll be scraping for some money.
Yeah, we ended up mailing out and handed out about 70,000 voter guides for that election.
And this time, of course, we have the November election, and then we have the primary. And the primary is of ultimate importance. So we need, we'll be doing a lot of scraping and dancing, not on the tables though. We'll be looking for ways to raise money to be able to pay for those, because it is important this time to have them.
So we've got 3 main races coming up in this election in November. You're gonna have, obviously, if you live in Conroe Independent School District, you're gonna have that bond, and we have a group working on that right now. And the particulars, it's very detailed. I've worked on those before, and it's not what it seems in a lot of cases. And believe it or not, CISD will put out some disinformation, so we're dependent on that group to help us out. You're gonna have 14 amendments, statewide amendments, that we're looking into right now. And then you have the township. Dr. Shelley Scuba Gibbs, who is here, is gonna be running. She has another mate that just announced, Dan Perry. Shelley's running in, I think, position 5, and Perry's in 7. And Ann Snyder and somebody else is in race 6. So we're gonna be vetting all those. We just sent out the questionnaires to them yesterday. We hope to get them back by this weekend, and so we're moving forward on that. And now we're working on all the questions for next year, in 2024, so it's a really busy time for us.
In fact, when you're praying for John and Dale, pray for the vetting committee, because from now until Christmas, we've got a lot of people to look at questionnaires for, to do research on, and to interview. So our free time is going to be even tighter to find anything. So, any other questions? How can you become a member? Oh, Mr. James.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a really good question too. So the primaries, there's a lot of people that aren't happy with who their options are in the general election. Can you explain really quickly what the purpose of the primaries are? Because I think there's a lot of people, they vote the general, but they don't understand the primaries.
Well, okay, so the primaries are held generally by 2 parties, the Republican Party and Democratic Party. And that's to sort out who you're gonna support in the general. Basically, it's that simple. You know, you've probably seen 2 parties come and go nationally over the years. Probably what has helped us survive is 2 things, you know, the voter guide being one of them. And I think it's been well received. We've grown over the years. We're respected throughout the community, and we have staying power, you know, that we've been able to develop. We got a 9-person team put together, and we evaluate. I mean, just developing questions takes some time. You have to be familiar with what's going on in the county, what's going on in the township, the school board, you know, the water board. There's a lot going on that I tell you I had no clue about 10 years ago. And you just got to get involved and knuckle in and find out what's going on. We try to, we put everything up that we develop in full transparency. We put it up on US Vote Smart. And that's where we plug everything that you can go and see questionnaires and candidates' answers, videos. We do pros and cons of the candidates, grade school scores, and then whether or not we're going to endorse those candidates. It's a really high bar that we set for endorsement. And when we do, we feel pretty strongly about those people. I think we've only missed on a couple over the 10 years that we've been doing this, but by and large, we pretty much nail it. And it doesn't take long to find out what's going on, you know, with a candidate or a particular issue once we dig into it.
So it's safe to say then that the people's voice, that they really want to know where their vote is going to be heard the most. It's not the general so much as it is the primary.
The primary is where you have a choice, because you choose between a rhino and a true conservative, or there may not be a good choice. But it's your chase to get someone out. Don't just go in and vote for somebody because they've already been elected. That doesn't mean they're good. In fact, we've got a whole host of them we need to get rid of. They may start out good, but you know what they say? Power corrupts, and absolute power absolutely corrupts. So once they've been in there 6, 8 years, somebody's already got to them. So try to follow the money and try to weed out the ones that we need to get rid of. And like I say, there's a whole list of them. Yes, sir.
That is a really long conversation.
Okay.
I wanna, my name is Joe Jennings, and I wanna try to answer your question. How the heck are we gonna fix this? And we are going fascist. This is what's happening, right? Trump may be running for president while sitting in federal prison. That's what happened. You know, and there's a precedent for that. My friend Lyndon LaRouche, who ran for president from federal prison in 1992, put there by one of the biggest drug runners of all, named George Bush. And that was proven in the court of law. So, and I'm done almost, but there is a way we can fix it. You know, and we turn America into an exporting powerhouse, developing other nations, you know, so people stay home, you know, develop so they can be prosperous at home and not be fleeing here to escape the misery. Because right now the next nation in this hemisphere that's about ready to be smashed is Argentina, because it dared to join the BRICS at their summit that they just had in South Africa, and Wall Street London saying, we're gonna smash Argentina. They're driving the interest rates up to 200%, right? So I'm inviting, we're gonna have a conference this Saturday, everyone's invited, and you can have it in your living room, you know, because it'll be online, the Schiller Institute, about how this country of America, the great revolutionary nation, could actually work with those nations of the global South to defeat the globalists who belong to no nation. They just belong to, you know, money and blood and so forth. So I'm here. That's my wife Betty. You know, I'm sure I've talked to you plenty before at the Conroe tax office and all that.
One of the first things that all of us can do is start looking the products we buy and see where they're made before we buy them. And you may like them. I mean, I know the last time I looked for toys for Christmas, do you know where all the toys were made? All of the toys. How safe do you feel buying your toy that from a country that has no safety regulations on how they build toys?
Where are all your water bottles made?
Why are you using water bottles? But I mean, the whole thing is we've got to start doing what we know we should, which is buy American and force this country back into working to make their own stuff and stop depending on foreign countries. I have a friend here that is dependent on antibiotics, and we know where those antibiotics, most of our medications are made. And you know what she can't get? Her medications that keep her alive. We're in deep trouble in this country when we depend on any other country, any of them, because power corrupts. And if they have the power of us by making all of our medications, you don't think they're going to use that, do you? Well, I think they are. We've got to start doing what we know we should do. Yes, it will be painful to give up your Starbucks. Yes, it will be painful to stop going to Target. Yes, it will be painful to not support some of these stores that you know you should. You don't want to support them anyway because you don't believe in what they're pushing. You just gotta do it if we want to make a difference. So we gotta all do it. You had a question?
Well, not necessarily a question, but what about cell phones? Where are all of our cell phones made?
Do what?
Where are all of our cell phones made? For technology.
Where are all of our cell phones made? Well, let's see, apples are made where? Where are any of the other ones made? Probably all of them. Why do we need so many cell phones? Why do parents give their children something made in China to hold up to their ear or put in front of them to look at all day? We do the same thing, but when you do it to your child, they have a lifetime they're going to be doing it. I mean, I haven't had mine a lifetime. Now, I mean, us older people still remember the old phones. Public Square, and there's also Mammoth Nation. Are all theirs, are US made? the link to manifestation is also on Texas Fully Loaded. Anyway, we need to all start doing our part. Yes, it will be painful. But we see what happens when we don't, and we get controlled. Yes, sir?
My statement's about, this bioengineered meat and everything that Congress just approved that people in the United States can use without letting us know. Does everybody know that if you look on the back of a Campbell's soup can, it has bioengineered food in it now?
I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to eat anything bioengineered. And I don't want to eat bugs. I don't like, no. We've got to start putting our foot down here. Yeah, it is scary. Look. Yeah, we all need to read our labels. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one thing when it comes to the globalist issue. The main thing that we're fighting against is globalism.
Yeah.
We've got all these little pockets of things that we're trying to fight. But why isn't the main fight, the very forefront of the fight against WEF, UN, Agenda 21? There's so many little things, and as one person, you might be contacting your senators, you might be contacting your governor, but they aren't doing anything about it. Not in a way that's really going to push back. We're in the background fighting the little things that are important, but if the big thing overshadows the little things, we won't have these little things.
Yeah.
So how do you get in the forefront, in the front of that? That to me, I may be wrong.
I guess you have to be
is-
obnoxious enough to get you and your friends to all do it. I think we found that even like on school boards, when we started going in and had just one or two people that actually read the books that were on there, it started making a difference because it woke up people. So we just have to be persistent. Get your friends to do the same thing. Make it as easy as possible for them to actually do something. You know, one of the things that they've started doing now is do like a form letter and have your position and hand it to your friends. So all they have to do is sign it and send it in to their congressman, to their senator, to their state rep, to whoever.
Right, if that senator or if that state rep isn't in on it. That's
True.
the other issue, the second part of that.
Well, and you find out they are in on it, then you have to let us know.
Unelect them.
You know what?
Unelect them.
Yeah, we have to unseat them, and we have a bunch we need to do. Well, guys, we're glad that y'all came tonight and put up with us being in this room. Our next meeting, we're gonna have Aubrey Young, who is a member of the SBOE, State Board of Education. You'll want to hear what she has to say when it comes to what's going on in schools and what we can do there. Because, I mean, we have nothing if we don't protect our children and our grandchildren. Thank you guys for coming.